You know, I have conversations all the time with people, and I tell them about how things are changing, how the old way is not working anymore and things are changing. And I always get asked by people who are old school, they say, but how, Nick? How do we get it into the schools? How do we get world peace when there's so much going on in the world, when there's this, when there's that? It starts with you. World peace starts with each one of us. Now, you look at Greg Braden, Nassim Haramein, in the scientific world, they're actually doing great contribution, and they will get it into the scientific mainstream. It's gonna happen. Each person has an individual role in this life, and they're all in right now, and they're all doing a great job. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about how they get it in schools unless you can do it. What we have to do is we be peace. For me, I tell you, Master Shah has been teaching love, forgiveness, compassion and light since every one of his books. He says the same thing. And it's took years of reading other material from a Buddhist perspective, Taoist perspective and more to actually understand love, forgiveness, compassion and light. For example, the Buddha says that you'll never get true love without understanding. Now you think about this. I know people who say, oh, I love you, and they want to love you, but they can judge you very easily, okay? There's no understanding there. So the Dalai Lama said, true love is the absence of judgment. So when you have love with understanding, the Buddha says that's compassion. So think about it. When you understand what somebody else is going through, there's compassion. When you have true compassion, which is no judgment, understanding with love, when you understand what someone's going through, then what you have? Forgiveness. You can forgive yourself, you can forgive others. And by doing this, you bring more light to the world. That's how I understand it. We all have a choice to choose love or fear in any moment, okay? I'll tell you a little story of an example of how we can see the world. I'll be totally honest with you. I saw a petition this week that had me crying. I was in tears. These people in the world who do dog fighting, okay, they torture the dogs. And I'm sorry to bring up a negative subject here. They torture the dogs, they cut the ears off the dogs, and they breed the females, then they use them as bait dogs. It's barbaric practice. Now, I'll be totally honest with you. 10 years ago, if I'd have seen something like this, my conversation would have been, if I got hold of them, I'd do this, I'd kill them, I'd do this. I used to think like that. I'll be honest with you. I would just torture them, okay? I'm not proud of it, but that's how a lot of people think now. There's good people who think like that. But what I've grown to know through my teachers' teaching and through the Buddhist teachings and what more is, now when I saw that petition, I was crying for the dogs and I was crying for the people doing it. What are you going through to be able to do that to another living thing? I'll tell you, I've done some stupid things. My brother has done some stupid things. My sister's done some stupid things. We all do stupid things. But I can tell you now, none of us would do that because we got so much love from our parents. My son wouldn't do that. I've got 3 nieces. They wouldn't do that. What have they not had? They've had no love. Obviously, how can you do that? You know what I mean? This is where the teaching comes in. We love all beings. We love all life. That's including the people who are torturing these dogs. When you have understanding with love, there's compassion for these beings. You can have compassion for them because their heart's closed. They have no love in their life. Then we have love and compassion for the animals. Now, whether you believe in karma or not, now, I do believe in karma. Now, this is not a fact because new karma is created. But just say those animals could have been doing what those men are doing now. What those men are doing now. Those men could come back as dogs who are getting tortured. This is where we need to forgive. This is where we need to have true love, true compassion, to see that even the people who are doing it are lost and they're caught in a karmic cycle with one another, and forgiveness, and cut this act. And honestly, my old way of thinking, which was if I caught them, I'd do this, I'd do that, I'd do that. Who am I becoming? I'm becoming them. You see terrorist activity on the TV, which, all the fear stuff they put on the television. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. You see extremists that are killing people and doing terrible things. When you say we should go and kill them all, we should go and do this, do that, who are you becoming? You're becoming them. It doesn't fix anything. It doesn't. And I see so many chat rooms where people are saying, there's only one way, it's this, that, and the other. I'm sorry. You don't fight fire with fire. I've said it many times before. You put fire on a fire, you get more fire. You're going to destroy everybody, you destroy everybody. Where I live in a beautiful part of Australia. It's quite a rich area. I'm not rich by any means, but it's a really nice area. But it's renowned for rats. Okay, apparently Australia brought in a species of something to try and control something else, and there's actually a lot of rats in the area. I got told this when we had a possum in the roof. Long story short, I've seen a few rats, okay, and obviously our neighbour has put rat poison down, and I came home from work today and there's a rat that's dying a slow death. Now, it is a hard situation to try and control them. But I looked at this rat and I saw that it was life. It was alive. It had just as much right to be here as I did. And many people watching this might say, oh, why didn't you put it out of its misery? Why didn't you kill it? It's not my job to do that. So what did I do? I sat with it. I prayed with it. I meditated with it. I let it know that I loved it. Okay? And I stayed with it till it died. And then me and my son, we put the body in an appropriate place. I wanted the rat to know that someone was there, someone cared. We need to start seeing life like this. Everything. I heard Thich Nhat Hanh give a beautiful teaching about a tree, a plant. A tree has a will to live. Plants can just be. They're not contributing negativity. In fact, they're having less of a negative effect on what's going on than most humans are. When we look at life like this, we realise that we really are all in this together. And we can, through meditation and through opening our hearts, we can open a vertical dimension to our life where we see everything as one, where we see everything as whole. Live more consciously. Be aware of what we're doing, what we're thinking. Be present. World peace starts with each one of us. If you want to see peace in the world, you be it. World is changed by your example, not by your opinion. So I'll leave this video on that note.